Hi, second graders. Today we are going to be talking about arrays in repeated addition, lesson 10.3. So I think it's really important that you realize that when we're doing arrays in repeated addition that we're actually doing multiplication. So I know that I told you guys we would get to multiplication before the end of the year, and this, guys, is multiplication. So here we go. So let's look at our vocabulary words. We have array. So an array is when you have a row and a column of objects. So, and you'll see this a little bit more closely. So it's an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. So you can see that we have these leaves right here are rows and columns. Now, let's remember what row and column means. So a row would be this going across is a row. So like if I say row 1, you would be like the front row at school, or the middle row at school, or the back row at school. So rows go like this. Now columns on the other hand go up and down. So columns would go like this. Column goes up and down. I think I showed you in one of my very first videos, if you remember, and I actually was sideways in the video, so that probably did not help. But columns columns could keep a house up, so it could keep a roof up. So think of these columns holding this roof up. They keep the building from falling over. So think of columns like this. These columns are keeping this roof from falling down. So let's talk more about what an array is and how we can use arrays to help us count. So let's read the problem. It says Rebecca arranges her leaf collection in 3 rows. There are 5 leaves in each row. How many leaves does Rebecca have in her collection? So it says an array is an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. Each row has the same number of objects and each column has the same number. So it says that she had 3 rows. So these are going across. So there was 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows. And it says in each row there are 5. So let's figure out how many she has. So you could say, okay, we could add 5 plus 5 plus 5 like they did over here. Or you could add the columns, and how many are in each column? You could say 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 like they did over here. Now, those are going to equal the same. So you could say I have 5 plus 5 plus 5, or if you want to use the multiplication, you could say I have 5 times 3, because I have 5 3 times. So 5 plus 5 plus 5 is the same thing as 5 times 3, which is 15. I could also say I have 3 times, and how many 3s did I add together? 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. 3 times 5, which equals the same thing, 15. So multiplication is like addition, and that order doesn't matter. So I could say 2 plus 3 is 5. I can also say that 3 plus 2 equals 5. Then order doesn't matter. It's the same thing with multiplication. 5 times 3 equals 15, and 3 times 5 equals 15. So let's look at the next one a little closer. It says complete 2 equations for the array. So you could either say, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buckets. You could either say there's 5 buckets plus another row of 5 equals, well, we know 5 plus 5 equals 10. Or I could say that I could add the columns. Then how many are in each column? 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Now, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 is going to equal the same thing, equals 10. Now, for a challenge, I want you to try to write the multiplication problem. So I could say I am adding 5 2 times. So I could say 5 times 2 equals 10. Or I could say I have 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So I have 2 times 5 because I have 5 2's. And that equals the same thing because in the multiplication order doesn't matter. 2 times 5 equals 10. Let's go on to our back side. Okay. Let's see. There we go. We have write 2 equations for each array. So remember how we talked about we could say we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could have 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I could add 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5 equals, well, what is 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5? Well, let's count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20. Or if I wanted to, I could do columns. How many are in each column? Well, there is 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4. So I have 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 20. They're the same. Now let's talk about how could we write the multiplication for this. So I have 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5. So I'm adding 5 4 times. So I have 5 times 4 equals 20. Or I could say I have 4 5 times. 4 times 5 equals 20. So multiplication, guys, is really just repeated addition. Let's go on to the next one, number 3. So I have 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. So 3 plus 3 4 times. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 equals, well, let's count by 3's. 3, 6, 9, 12. Now we can do the opposite. And how many are in each column? So I have 4. So I have 4 plus 4 plus 4. So 4 3 times. 4 plus 4 plus 4 equals 12. So I have 12 triangles. Oh, I forgot over here 20 stars. Now let's talk about the multiplication, guys. Let me move my little face over here. Okay, so I have 3 4 times. So I could say I have 3 times 4 equals 12. Now, I have 4 3 times. So I have 4 times 3 equals 12. So if you guys can write out arrays, I trust that you can do multiplication, which is really cool. Let's go on down to our problem solving. It says Molly makes an array with 5 rows of shells. There are 2 shells in each row. So there are 5 rows. Now we talked about a row goes like this. Remember, like you're sitting in a row at school, but in each row there are 2 shells. So there's 2 shells in that row, but we need 5 rows. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 2 shells in each row. You should be drawing this on your own paper so that you understand it more. Okay, so we have 5 rows and 2 shells in each row. So that would be 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So 10 shells. Now, is 10 an even or an odd number? Can you remember? Is there any odd men left out? No. So it's even. Let's talk about how would we do this for multiplication. We added 2 5 times. We would say 2 times 5 equals 10. Why is the sum of in an array the same whether you add the numbers in each column or the numbers in each row? Because it doesn't matter how you add them; you get the same number. So you can add the numbers in the rows like we did here, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2, or you can add the columns, 5 plus 5. So why does the sum not matter? Because the number does not change. It's just how you add it. So I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And now you know how to do multiplication if you didn't know how to do it before.